Hey Dan, welcome to Distilled. How's it going?
Kira, it is going great. How about for you?
It's going pretty well. I actually have a question for you this morning.
Okay.
You
I wasn't
ready?
prepared for any questions, so
I know that, especially this one. What is your favorite sound?
mm, what is my favorite sound? Like, can you say something as broad as music, or does it have to be like a specific instrument or something?
Let's go for more specifics here, not just like music. It's great. I love that over honking horns.
Well, I'm gonna shift because I think it's not music, but actually like sitting at a beach and hearing the tide hit the waves, like that's my favorite sound. That's an amazing sound.
Yes, that's solid. Any specific beach?
Well, no, I would pretty much do it at any beach. But sitting in in a warm sun in like Hawaii or somewhere like that would make it
Yeah,
sound just a touch better.
I agree. I agree. When you can actually feel the warmth as well as hear the sound of the beach.
Exactly.
I
Yeah. What
like that.
about for you? What's your favorite sound?
I really love when you're making a delicious meal and you can
Mm,
kind of hear it simmer or boil. I feel like
mm,
that's a really solid sound because it's anticipatory, right? Of this
yeah.
delicious meal. My stomach starts growling because I'm hearing the simmer. It's a full experience. Okay, well, today we're starting our next three-part series. It's the top three ways to make your church budget go farther. Can you actually, as a church leader, really find extra money in your budget, or is that just a gimmicky statement?
So what it is we've actually planted gold buckets in every church across America, right? And so now it's a game of finding this gold bucket. Might be hidden in the youth room and all their, unorganized, disgusting storage closet, with
Yeah, it's a global
toys
church Easter
all
egg
and everything.
hunt,
Yeah,
but
exactly,
not Easter
exactly.
eggs because
That's
we
what we're
don't all
trying to
believe
do.
in that.
Yes, exactly. No, we see this all the time. And what it is it's not, yeah, there's not this pile of money that you're missing, but it's spending that can be eliminated or used for better causes, which is actually the same effect as finding gold, right? When you realize like, hey, we're funding this, but we don't need to be, there's no reason why we're paying for it. It could be a duplicate cost, could be something that is no longer needed. It could just be something that's not really a priority anymore for the church. When you find that and stop spending it, that is now like a pot of gold for dollars that you can spend on something that's more important for your mission and vision.
That being said, how do you find money in your church's budget like that?
Yeah. So this is a three-part series and we're going to kind of break it up. Today we're just going to be talking about like some ways that you need to do to kind of set the foundation. And then the next two episodes are a couple tools that you can use. What we're going to talk about today is a commitment to clarity. I'm going to talk about going to the doctor for this because I dislike going to the doctor for many reasons. But one of the reasons is that if I have to go, I want them to tell me what's wrong and give me the answer, whatever that is, a prescription or do the
Antidote.
exactly. Just do that all in one appointment. But what ends up happening is you go and you wait and you wait, and then you go in, you wait more, and then you see the doctor. And then what the doctor usually does is, well, you're going to need to get this test and I want to have this exam done. You leave and you didn't find out anything more. They're like, just tell me what's wrong and give me the solution. It's kind of like that with your finances. If you don't have clarity with your finances, you're going to be making decisions on kind of a limited set of data. I went in to see the doctor and I was like, here's my issues. And they think it could be 10 things, but they can't eliminate anything or they can't firm anything up because they can't do any more tests. They can just treat one of them and hope that's the right thing. But the
Right. That's so
reason
true.
why doctors do what they do is because they're trying to get more and more information. They're trying to get clarity. That's what we're saying with your finances is you need to get clarity. You need to be committed to that. The reason I say commitment is because you need someone to manage your finances, whether it's a bookkeeping company like us or someone internal or whatever that might look like. They need to do their part. It also requires the church to be committed to say, this is important. We're going to give the information, do the processes that are needed to make sure that this happens.
I feel like we got a tiny glimpse into Pastor Dan because we started with alliteration and then we went straight into an analogy. Isn't that just your pastoral heart coming out right there?
Is there a way to talk and to explain something to people without doing that? I thought that was required.
I think it is required. You're so right. I don't know why
Yeah.
I noticed that.
That's not a pastor thing. No, it's not.
It's a people thing.
It's communication. Okay, so let's talk about, there's a couple pieces to getting clarity. One is accurate information, which I kind of talked about, and we'll talk about in a second, but also, do you understand your reports, right? I've got to be able to know that it's right, and then to understand it. In terms of accurate, this is both your bookkeeper, your accountant doing the books well, and you providing the right information so that things can be accurate. If you're not giving that feedback of where expenses are, using tools that help do that, they're not going to be able to give you that clarity, right? That's where that commitment comes in. It is a two-way street. Now, we use a lot of modern tech that really simplifies this process. It's really easy to categorize as you go. We obviously recommend that, make it as simple for you and your ministry leaders as possible. And the other is understanding your finances. And for this, I'll go back and put my pastor hat on, I guess.
Woohoo!
I want to talk about The Office. If you're a fan of The Office,
Okay, here we go.
There's this episode where Oscar goes in to talk to Michael and he says, hey, we've got a budget surplus. Michael kind of looks at the financial reports and kind of like, okay, why don't you explain this to me like I'm 8? Oscar goes through the explanation and simplifies it. Michael kind of does the same thing. He's like, why don't you explain this to me like I'm 5? And it's simplifying until he gets it, right? And so Oscar brought in accurate reports, presumably, but Michael didn't understand it. That's the key, is to be able to also understand that information. There's different ways that this can happen. A little bit of basic training on your financial reports can really help. We have a tool called Advanced Reporting that actually turns your financial reports into charts and graphs and kind of highlights key information. It kind of pulls out the key pieces that you really need to be looking at and gives you a gauge of on track or off track, and also shows you with visuals. So it makes it a lot easier to understand.
You mentioned accuracy and clarity. Why is that important? Why can't we just take it on a wing of prayer, have a little faith, and just trust that the Lord's going to get us to the finish line?
Yeah. Great reference in the song there. But
speaking of sounds.
Exactly. There you go. I think that there's a lot of negatives here, or potential risks, when you don't have clarity. Part of the problem is if you're making decisions on inaccurate data, you're not going to make the right decisions. Again, it's like going to the doctor and them seeing you for 10 minutes and diagnosing you with some significant disease and that needs, major treatment. If they only have a piece of the information, that may or may not be the right diagnosis, right? So you really need to make sure, do we have all the information? That's what we're trying to get to. What we see then is churches are able to make better decisions and really understand what decision they're really making. We see it all the time where church comes to us and they say, hey, we're about A, B, C. We look at their finances and your finances say you're about X, Y, Z. They don't realize there's a gap between what they think that they're about and what they're funding. And that's where you really want that clarity, is to say, hey, these are the things that are really, really missionally important to us. We want to make sure we're prioritizing those with our dollars and focusing on that instead of funding things that we're just kind of wasting money. That's how you're going to find those dollars. And we see it all the time. So we see people have large fees and debts that they're paying on credit cards, but they had the money to pay it off. They didn't realize it. We've even seen it where people are coming to us and we're looking back and it's like, you've paid this bill 2 or 3 times. And sometimes that's thousands and thousands of dollars. They weren't watching it, so they didn't realize that they spent 20 grand that they didn't need to. A lot of money that gets wasted when you don't have clarity.
It's actually making me think of the apps that people have for personal budgets and their personal finances, where it's like, hey, these are the subscriptions. Do you still want to keep these going? These are the bills that you've paid. Did you notice that you paid this a few times? Clarity is more than just oh, I know what numbers are going where. Do I actually have eyes on this? Do I know where our money is going and how many times I have paid that bill?
Exactly. Yeah. And to your point, we actually have a couple tools that will help you navigate this and help you make these decisions and bring this to light. Those are going to be in our next episodes. So yes, we don't have the same kind of app, but we have the tools for that.
All right. Give it to me straight. What is one takeaway or action item every pastor needs from this episode?
Yeah. I would say make a commitment for clarity with your finances. This is making sure that your accounting team, your bookkeeper, whether that's internal or third party, that they're able to do that for you and provide you with clarity, that you are committed to the process that they establish for you, the tools that they tell you to use so that you can every month get clear reports. Make sure that you're committed to clarity with your finances.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Dan, for taking the time to walk us through this, and we'll see you for part 2.